Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing? And welcome to another show of Breaking Dawn. Another Breaking Dawn show, should we say. I hope you're all doing well. It is a very early morning today. It's an early one, guys. It's Saturday, guys. So we're going to do an early one today. Why not? Why not test the elements and stuff like that? I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to the stream. If you're new to Stretford Post, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash a like on the video if you guys can do that for me. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Now, look, you know what? It has been a very hectic week in regards to Manchester United. A lot of news coming out of the club. You know, a lot of hatred, a lot of bitterness I've been seeing all week. The media meltdown has been astronomical. I mean, I can't believe it. You know, you would have thought someone had, killed someone the way Man United are being hated on this week. I mean, we're like the first club to qualify for Europe from the Europa League, for goodness sake, at the end of the day. But as I've always said this even in the 90s, I used to say, there should always be an incentive to win trophies. Trophies are part of what football is. At the end of the day, when you retire, you don't look at when I came third place, fourth place, fifth place. You look at when I won that trophy. At the end of the day, no one cares who came top 5 in 2002. No one really cares about that at the end of the day. It all matters about trophies and trophy winning, guys. That is what football is about. Ultimately, you know what? It's not ideal. Look, Man United, when Man United in the league, it's not ideal, but people need to understand the context, and people with a lack of intelligence don't really understand the context of where Man United are at the moment, given the ownership, given when Ruben Amorim walked into the club, given the off-field issues that he had, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, and, lost 3 players, 1 player in, which was a young defender, and people don't look at that context. They look at things to fit their narrative. They mold things to fit their narrative, And when people talk about, what the ex-pro said this, the ex-pro, look, I be honest with you. I was raised and watched the likes of Roy Keane and Gary Neville and Paul Scholes, at their peak, at their prime. I witnessed their whole career. Fantastic players. But it doesn't mean that their ball knowledge is any good. Some of these pundits really and truly don't really want Man United to be successful. I'll tell you why. Because they don't want Man United to overthrow their legacy. We know that Man United right now are not going to be anywhere near overthrowing their legacy. We know that. But they have this sting in them that they just want to be bitter because they want to be the all-knowing, the ones that, know everything about everything and you know what, just over-sensationalizing everything for media clicks and stuff like that. That's what they need. At the end of the day, that's what it is. At the end of the day, winning the trophy, just like when we think about Mark Hughes burying that goal into the corner against Barcelona, these moments, in Europe, that weren't the biggest cup in Europe. That cup doesn't even exist anymore, the Cup Winners' Cup. But it's still a moment in history. And you won the trophy. And that is what people remember. People don't remember that goal you scored against Southampton or Everton, to come 5th place in the Premier League. They don't remember that, do they? You know what I mean? Because it doesn't, no one cares about those sort of things. People remember the pass from Bruno, Man City. Tell me who came 5th in the league last season. You won't remember, will you? At the end of the day, it's all about trophies. That is what football is about. And this normalization of failure, coming 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th best loser, it doesn't attract me. I love trophies. Yeah, Man United need to do better in the league, but we got to look at the context here. We got to look at, the problems that have faced us this year. And Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim wanted to come in the end of the season. He didn't want to come in mid-season. And there's a reason for this. Now, if Ruben Amorim goes and wins that Europa League, I don't think anyone has a leg to stand on in regards to talking about Man United. And they can cry more. Big up, Chow. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Hope you're good. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining me, you legend. Thank you very much. This early morning, of course, it is an early morning. It is very early today, but we're going to get it over and done with. Of course, I will be back tonight for the match preview between Manchester United and West Ham. Of course, West Ham. We you know what? One thing I would say is that we deserve to give West Ham a good hiding. You know what we call it in England? They call it a good hiding, like a slap. Like that's what we need to do. We need to give West Ham a piece of a dose of their medicine, so to speak, because We've had a pretty poor record against West Ham, in particular at the London Stadium. We've been pretty poor at West Ham. And, you know, I think we're playing them at Old Trafford tomorrow, if I'm not correct. So we're playing them at Old Trafford. So, look, we need to get some wins on the board in the Premier League. Look, because I don't want these fans of, you know, so-called fans, social media fans, are coming online on Sunday talking about, Amram out, if we lose the game. You know, because the game ultimately doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. You know, as much as people want to try and throw out this self-righteous thing about football and this and that, we should be winning this game. Look, you know what? We aim to win every game. But what's the most important thing for Manchester United? Europa League. Qualify for that Champions League. The Europa League can potentially change Manchester United's history. That's what it could potentially change Manchester United's history. That is what football is at the end of the day. And for changing the course of Man United's history, qualify for the Champions League, thus having a better transfer window this summer because we're in the Champions League. Now, I'm going to bring in some news about some players. Moise Kean. We all remember Moise Kean from his little stint at Everton, of course, guys. Didn't really succeed in the Premier League, has gone around a long way in regards to football. He's gone to Juventus, of course, and a couple of other clubs. Moise Kean. Now, rumors is Man United are interested in Moise Kean. Now, look, there are brackets here. There are brackets in regards to what player Man United will be after in a certain scenario. You know, I would place the Moise Kean transfer as a European failure transfer. So basically, I would say that if Manchester United do not qualify for the Champions League, we will go after your Moise Keans, you know, those sort of players that playing for Fiorentina, not really. I mean, he's done pretty well. I think he's got 17 goals this season. He isn't too bad. He's still only 25. Seems like he's been around a long time, isn't it, at the end of the day? But I would place the Moise Kean transfer in if we don't win the Europa League transfer. There's going to be two leagues of transfer targets, right? There's going to be the Champions League targets and there's going to be the non-European targets. So basically the targets that we will go after if we don't qualify for the Europe next season. Big up Fanatic 8. How you doing, you legend? Hope you're doing well. Good early morning, Fanatic 8. You're up early running. Goodness me. Big up Fanatic 8. Hope you're doing well on this Saturday morning, of course. Yeah. It is, 4:45 I started in English time. It's 4:45. 7:45 where I am. Up early, break of dawning. Absolutely. So I would say that beware about Man United's transfer targets. You know, if Man United do qualify for the Champions League, you can expect our transfer targets to be significantly more prestigious than the ones coming from the Europa League. I mean, don't be surprised if Man United, not Europa League, non-European competition at all. Don't be surprised if Manchester United, if we don't qualify for Europe, and God forbid, I hope we do. I mean, I don't want to be that team to lose to Tottenham. Trust me. I don't want to be that team to lose to Tottenham. You were the ones who gave Tottenham the trophy. You were the ones who gave Tottenham their first trophy in 20 years. Oh, God, don't do it. You know what I mean? What I would say is that don't be surprised if football, you never know. If Man United don't win this Europa League, we'll be after Delap, Tyler Dibbling, Moise Kean, these type of players, and you'd be like, oh my God, this is going to be a long ride, you know, at the end of the day. The reason I wanna separate this Moise Kean thing at the moment, and I want to talk about a player that we have to be extremely careful of, all right? His name's Musa. Now, Musa scored 6 goals for the Manchester United youth team the other day, you know? There are rumors around Barcelona that this player could be the next Lamine Yamal. Of course, Musa has played with Lamine Yamal, right? We need to ensure that we're looking at this talent, right? Yeah, we're looking at Chido. Okay, we spent money on Chido Obi and stuff like that. But we need to look at the full package of our squad, right? Our young players. Our young players cannot be forgotten about. I firmly believe that we have a conveyor belt of young players coming through that are the best since 1992. And we have to be extremely careful not to lose these players. Of course, JJ Gabriel, of course, who's bashing in the goals at 14 years old, guys. He can go to someone else. You know what I mean? If we're not careful, we need to look after these players. We need to make sure we don't lose them to other clubs, and we need to ensure that we're scouting their talent in the youth teams sufficiently so we don't miss out on them playing for Manchester United at the end of the day. Because unfortunately, in youth football, it's very easy to lose your prize assets. It's very easy to lose your young players to other teams and lurking around and stuff like that. Man United need to make sure that they attract these players with, you know, promises and, you know, development, because at the end of the day, we have a very good youth team, and I feel like we need to give these players a chance eventually. JJ Gabriel is very young, of course. I mean, a couple of years, 3 years, maybe 16, 17 years old, he might be able to get his debut at Man United. You never know. But you're looking at the talent and you're thinking, my goodness me, these are good players. And I'm telling you right now, Man United have their own Lamine Yamal. I know it is a big shout, but Man United have their own Lamine Yamal. You know, and we need to give these players a chance. Barcelona will give these players a chance. You know, now what I would do from now to the end of the season, I'm not really caring about the results. I would say Mantata, Camerson, all these players there need to be given their opportunities, because look, it's very rare to be in this position right now where we don't need to worry about the league too much. It's very rare that we get the opportunity to play young players. It's very rare. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, I would say bring in Mantato, bring in Kamasan, bring in Musa, bring in these players into the squad, and let's see what they can do. Let's see what they can do. It's a bit like when Eric Ten Hag brought in Kobe Mainoo, when he brought in, you know, Garnacho and stuff like that. You know, you never know what these players can do. And I would say just give them a chance. Do you know what I mean? Give them a chance. Give them a chance against West Ham. Let me see some of these players. Because, you know what? And then by next season, you know what? You would know if they're good enough or not. You know what I mean? And then we'll say, well, at least we got a right wing back in Mantato. We don't need to buy a right wing back. At least we got Kamasan. We don't need to buy another midfielder. It's like that, isn't it, at the end of the day? Good morning, Ephraim. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. So we need to defend very well against Tottenham. It's going to be a difficult game. Look, my brother is a Tottenham fan. My brother's been a Tottenham fan for 40 years. My brother lives in New York at the moment. And he was messaging me this morning, you know, and he's very worried about the game, right? And he's a Tottenham fan. He's very worried about the game. And I'm like, look, bro, it's a final. You never know what's going to happen. Of course, I want Man United to win. And, you know, I don't want to rub it in his face. But I did tell him that ultimately finals are decided on fine margins, you know, and experience counts. If I was Spurs, right, I would look at Manchester United and I'll look up and I'll see Casemiro, 5 European Cups. Bruno's won trophies for Man United. You know, De Ligt has won trophies for Manchester United, of course. Even Luke Shaw has won trophies for Manchester United. You look at that. Even Garnacho has won trophies for Manchester United. So you look at that and you think, where is Tottenham's experience here? Where is Tottenham's experience at playing in finals, let alone major European finals? Do you know what I mean? I mean, I don't know at the end of the day. Good morning, Kenny. How you doing, brother? I hope you're doing well. Celebration stream incoming. It's going to be incredible, Kenny. We're all going to be involved. If we win it, it will be incredible. We're going to be celebrating here. Of course, we will be. And we'll be absolutely loving it at the end of the day. And it will be lovely. And you know what? I think that, and I'm going to be honest, and I'm not biased, guys, but I feel like Man United fans deserve it. I think what we've had to go through this year, I think that Man United fans deserve it. Man United fans deserve success because we've been put through the rucker this year. Absolutely madness. You know what I mean? And not only that, when you look at Man United's Europa League campaign, Man United had a far more difficult Europa League journey than Spurs. You know what I mean? Now, Spurs are going to go to the Champions League to make up the numbers. Some may say Man United are going to make up the numbers. Nah, Man United have football heritage on our side. You know what I mean? Man United, don't be surprised if Man United compete next year. Don't be surprised about that. I know people want to bring this whole big pessimistic negativity thing going on. Energy, positivity is contagious, guys. So is negativity. You know, so we have to make sure that we believe, because I believe in next season. I think Man United will do well next season. I'm saying that, and I'm throwing myself out on a limb here. I'm putting my head on a line here, guys. Absolutely. Victor Musa, yes, he's Spanish, isn't he? I think so. But he's. I mean, what I would say for an active 8 is that, you know, you've got something about you if you score 6 goals in one game at a young age, you know. And there is rumors around Barcelona that they're looking at Musa. You know, I mean, and I won't be surprised if they try and take him from us. We got to be careful, guys, because we're not scoring goals at the moment. You know, why not drop Rasmus, right? And rotate between Musa and Chido. Let's see what happens between Musa and Chido. Let's see if one of them might start getting on a goal scoring run. I know Chido needs a goal. He almost scored the other night. But Musa, you know what I mean? Kamarson, Montato, these players there, you know, they're the future of Manchester United. And, you know, we have a great opportunity right now to put some of those players into the team, rest some of the more experienced players so we can get them prepared for the Europa League final. Because rest assured, that's what Tottenham are going to be doing. They're going to be resting all their players. You know what I mean? So that's what I think we should do. I think we should play a few of them, not 11, but you know what, 5 or 6 of them to see how they do. Big up, good morning, everyone. And Dongo, how you doing, my friend? Welcome to the stream. I hope you're good, my friend. Good to see you. Is the Gutierrez true? Look. What I've heard, Ephraim, is that in regards to Gutierrez, as I've been talking about at the beginning of the show, is on the Champions League transfer wish list. So basically, Man United have a wish list for the Champions League if we qualify for the Champions League, and Man United have a wish list if we don't get European football. Gutierrez is on the Champions League list. Now, if Man United qualify for the Champions League, and I'm telling you right now, don't be surprised if Man United get an Osimhen or get a Gutierrez. Don't be surprised if Man United do that, because it is all boiling down to this Champions League qualification. It is. We're going from Gutierrez to Liam Delap. That is how it is at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So Man United need to qualify for this Champions League. And as I said, this is why I'm calling this game a historical game against Tottenham. It is a historical game because it can have a domino effect over the next few years. It can do, you know. I'm not saying that if Man United lose the final to Tottenham that we won't go on and improve. But what I would say is that winning the Europa League and qualify for the Champions League will buy us years. It will buy us years. It will get, you know, and it will fast forward us a little bit, you know. And some may say, of course, the media have been going crazy about Man United qualify for the Champions League, for goodness sake. I mean, I've never seen such a bunch of crybabies in my life. Never in my life. You know, talking about Man United qualify for the Champions League. And you know, funny enough, it's about Arsenal. You know, 4th place FC, the team that haven't won anything in 5 years. Shouldn't Man United be rewarded for winning 3 trophies in 3 years? Shouldn't Man United be rewarded for that? Four finals in 3 years. Shouldn't Man United be rewarded for that rather than coming 5th best team, beating the likes of Everton and Southampton because we came 5th trophy? Come on, man. Football should be about winning trophies, man. Enough of this 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th best loser. I'm not interested in that. Absolutely. Knowing how to win will not be underestimated in the final. Experience is everything, Ephraim. You see the experience. And let me give you an example. And I want to praise Casemiro here. You know, the game against Lyon, right? There are certain players in our team that when it got to the last minute of the game and Harry Maguire standing in the box waiting for the ball, there are certain players in our team that will shoot, right? Casemiro didn't. Casemiro, like everything went slow motion. The great thing about experienced players is that they see everything in slow motion, right? And then what happened is that Casemiro looked up, he saw Maguire in the box and hit a pinpoint ball straight onto Maguire's head and got us to the final. You know, those are the margins, and that is experience there. Football heritage, some may say. That is the experience. You know, if I was a Tottenham player, none of them have witnessed finals, let alone European finals. Do you know what I mean? And then you're looking at Man United, who've got loads of players that have played in finals. You've got Casemiro there, who's know-how. He's know-how in finals. It's just going to be so inspirational. Like Jamie Carragher said, I know I don't like, obviously, listening to them a lot, but what Jamie Carragher said to a Tottenham fan on the overlap, right? He said, basically, he sees Man United winning the final. He can't see Tottenham beating Man United in a European final. And I agree with that. But Man United, if they start the game like they did against Athletic Bilbao, will be in trouble. We're starting games too slowly. We're taking time to get into games, and we're giving ourselves a mountain to climb every single time. We need to make sure that we need to make sure that we start that game on the front foot and from the beginning. I don't understand why Man United start games so slowly. I don't know why it takes a goal against us to get us going. Now, what the positive I look at in regards to Manchester United and regards to that game against Athletic Bilbao is the changes that Ruben Amorim made. Ruben Amorim made some changes in game management that, I thought, wow, changed the game. And it's not just about changing players on the pitch. It takes a lot of guts to do that. In a semi-final of a major competition, you're making that many changes. You're changing the whole shape of your team. You're bringing on Ahmad. You're bringing on all these players to change the game. You're bringing on, at the end of the day, you're bringing on Mason Mount. Now, this is a risk. It's a punt. But that is what great managers do. Great managers make decisions at the right time. Kenny, now Arsenal fans discussing about reaching UEFA Champions League semi-final money and all that. This actually sums up their loser mentality. Do you know what I would say? Wasn't it the Arsenal fans and who were talking about the Champions League is a glorified cup competition? What's that guy's name? That idiot that goes on their channel. Wasn't it him who said that the Champions League is a glorified cup competition? They think everything is a glorified cup competition because what they do, they move the goalposts. So what I mean by that is that, if they're not in the competition, we're concentrating on that competition anyway. Oh, that's just a glorified cup competition. That's a Mickey Mouse competition. You know what I mean? Things like that. Do you know what I mean? They do that a lot, Arsenal fans. And I don't want them here talking about the Champions League because they have no Champions League legacy. They are known as the bottlers in Europe, the big bottlers in Europe. And look, not even bottlers, to be honest with you. They've got a poor European record, guys. Them reaching a semi-final is an achievement for Arsenal. That's an achievement for Arsenal. Now, look, I firmly believe if Man United played PSG, and I'm not going to be, guys, you may laugh at me about this, but I firmly believe if Manchester United played PSG, Man United will have more chance of beating PSG than Arsenal. And I tell you this, because of football heritage. Now, you remember when we went to PSG all those years ago and won 3-1? Remember the year after that, we went to PSG and won 2-1? Man United know how to pull results out of the hat, and that is what football heritage is. And Arsenal don't have football European heritage. Arsenal have less European finals than Spurs now. Spurs have more European finals than Arsenal right now. Major European finals, right? Spurs, right? Now, if Man United, the unthinkable happens and lose to Tottenham, Tottenham have more major European silverware. They already do, but what exists, they have more European silverware than Arsenal. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Big up Fanatic 8, my friend. Big up. Child, they may not even finish second. Like, you know what? At the end of the day, second, fourth, fifth, for me, it's the same thing. I remember in 1994-95 when we came second to Blackburn. I remember the time when we came second to Leeds in 1992. I remember these times, right? And I remember how devastated I was, that we came second. You know what I mean? It was like, the end of the world when we came second. 94-95, literally, I cried. When we came second, I cried my eyes out when we came second to Blackburn. Do you know what I mean? 1992, the same thing when we came second to Leeds, and I just don't see. I'm not interested in second place. We came second under Jose. We came second under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, who cares? No one cares. Second best loser. No one cares. You know what I mean? It all matters about this. You know what I mean? You see this? You see these muscles here? They're right here. They're like little muscles. I've forgotten what they're called. I've forgotten what these muscles are called. But, you work them. You know what I mean? You work them. That is what it's all about. Lifting that trophy. You know what I mean? That is what it's all about. Lifting the trophy. And that is all I care about. I mean, the worst thing, Ephraim, is letting that Anglais Postecoglou win the Europa League. I do not want to see that Ramsey Street loving, Perth traveling Aussie winning the Champions League. Europa League, sorry. The reason is he's extremely arrogant. That guy was asked a simple question last night about Man United feel like it hasn't been a good season if we win the Europa League. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I understand why Man United are saying that, because at the end of the day, no Man United teams have come 14th, 15th in the league or even lower. So yeah, ultimately it's been poor because your bread and butter is the Europa League. But winning the Europa League does make it redeem us somewhat in regards to an achievement, right? That will live in history, just like 2017. It's very similar. And then he goes on, Andrzej Postecoglou, about, we're Struth, mate. We don't care about Manchester United. It's nothing to do with Manchester United. What do you expect me to say? That's Manchester United, mate. Calm down, mate. Calm your tits. That's what I would say about Andrzej Postecoglou. He just needs to calm the F down. You know what I mean? Calm down, mate. You're not that guy. You won trophies in Scotland, for goodness sake. For goodness sake. I could get a bloody, one of those Duracell battery bunnies, right? And set the Duracell battery bunny off to manage Celtic. They'll win the league with Celtic. For goodness sake. Who can't win the league with Celtic, for goodness sake? Come on, man. I think that's got to his head a little bit. I think it's got to... Either that he's been kicked by a kangaroo. I don't know. But I think he's got to his head a little bit. They are playing pragmatic football now to win the final. How we can break their defense. What we do, Ephraim, is that football in every single type of season is about the day. What happens on the day? Now, Tottenham turn into pragmatic football is not good for them. And I'll tell you why. Because they're not used to playing pragmatic football. They've played attacking football, gun-ho football whole season. So Man United have played our formation, our style, the whole season, right? So I'm not too worried about what Tottenham formation they play. It's going to be a difficult game. Absolutely. It depends on how we start the game. If Man United score first, I think Man United will pick them off and win the game. The key is Man United need to keep it tight for and not concede the first goal. And then I think the experience will shine through. We can look at Tottenham and whatever formation Tottenham are going to play. We beat Man City last year in the final. Do you know what I mean? And Tottenham are not Man City. We need to remember that. It's Spurs, guys. As Sir Alex Ferguson famously said, it's Spurs, guys. It's Spurs. We should be able to be confident. Good morning, Donovan. How you doing, my friend? Be a great saying. Yes, news coming out of Manchester United is that Manchester United are in super advanced talks for Matheus Cunha. Matheus Cunha could quite possibly, and I'm saying it's about 80% sure that Cunha will be a Manchester United player very soon. Quotes in the media are saying that it could be within days that an agreement will be struck between Wolverhampton Wanderers and Manchester United. But obviously, there's still some finer details to straighten out. And Manchester United still have other players that they are looking at the moment should the Cunha deal fall through. Ruben Amorim has made no secret of his admiration for Cunha and feels that he will fit the formation and the tactics incredibly well. Now, look, you know what? I would say, if Cunha signs for Man United, which is looking very likely now, will Ahmad be the permanent right wing back? Now, we all know how much Ruben Amorim loves Dalot, right? I don't want to go into next season, right? And I'm telling you that, and I'm going to bring you some concern. I want to be subjective, play devil's advocate here, right? Let's say we sign Cunha, right? We've got a generational talent like Ahmad, and we're going to play Ahmad on the wing, okay? So what are we going to do with Dalot? Now, I don't want this to happen. And I tell you what, I do not want this to happen next season because it won't work. I do not want Dalot moving over to left wing back. I don't want that to happen. No longer do I want to see square pegs in round holes. I'm done with that nonsense. Nonsense. That's what it is. I'm done with that nonsense. Man United need to play players in position. Ruben Amorim said it, yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. Day before yesterday. Ruben Amorim said that We finally have a squad where we can play players in their correct positions. Now, I know he loves Dalot, right? But at the same time, Ahmad next season, right, will be undroppable, right? At the end of the day, at the moment, the way we're looking at it now, it will be undroppable. And I feel like, you know what? Dalot needs to drop to the bench. That is my opinion about that. Dalot needs to drop to the bench. I'm sorry, but I just don't think he's good. He's that guy to take us forward, guys. So why did we not go for Frimpong? It's not over yet, Ephraim. Frimpong hasn't signed for Liverpool yet, although I did say, guys, weeks ago, remember, Frimpong will go to Liverpool. And the reason Frimpong will go to Liverpool is because Liverpool have lost Trent Alexander-Arnold, and they are going to fight tooth and nail to get Frimpong. Now, the reason Man United can't compete with Liverpool is because we're not in the Champions League at the moment. So at the moment, Liverpool has stolen a march on Frimpong because they're in the Champions League and they can promise Champions League football. They're the champions. They're more enticing. They're more exciting. Their project is more complete. So if Man United had already won the Europa League right now, and this is where we're a little bit handicapped at the moment, if Man United won the Europa League right now, we'd be in a much more powerful position to go after Frimpong. But right now, Man United can only wait. And another reason why Man United can only wait is because of the financial reward for winning the Europa League and obtaining Champions League football. You're looking at, with the Europa League victory and the Champions League qualification, you're looking at over 100 million there. You know, so Man United are obviously snooze, you lose. In regards to, they did the same with Quenda. They lost out to Quenda because you snooze, you lose at the end of the day. Man United are doing that because they're not in the Champions League at the moment, whereas Liverpool can approach Frimpong and say, we're the champions, we're in the Champions League, this is the club for you. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And would you blame Frimpong for signing for Liverpool? You know what I mean? This guy who said JP Jones are qualified cups, Julian from AFT. I mean, ciao. You know what I would say about Julian, right? Forget about his political beliefs and his genocide-loving self. You know what I mean? I'd love to see someone knock on his door and take his house. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. This guy's football opinion is about as arrogant, pompous, stiff upper-lipped as I've ever seen, right? Now, guys, calling the Champions League a glorified cup competition. So basically what we're saying is this. Everything is a glorified competition then, right? Because the Champions League is the biggest trophy in European football, right? Domestic football is the league. European football is the Champions League. So basically you're saying that the Champions League is a glorified cup competition. So that must mean that the Premier League is a glorified league. The World Cup is a glorified cup competition too, right? So, you know, so everything is a glorified cup competition then. You might as well say everything is a glorified cup competition because at the end of the day, it's just a cup competition. It doesn't make sense. Everything is a glorified cup competition. You know what I mean? That's a glorified Ferrari. You know what I mean? It's a Porsche, but it's a glorified Ferrari. You know what I mean? What are you talking about, mate? I mean, at the end of the day, this is the clownery. I call it clownery of the Arsenal fan base. Now, that guy's supposed to be some intelligent, rich, prat. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And he's coming out with such nonsense like that. Dead football opinion, arrogant football opinion, dismissive football opinion, narrative football opinion based on narratives that, you know what, as long as it fits his narrative, then he's fine with it. I bet you if Arsenal did eventually win the Champions League, you'd be singing from standing on top of the bloody pole, singing about the Champions League. We are the champions, we're the best in Europe. I bet he'd be doing that, wouldn't he, at the end of the day? But this is what they do. This is what they do. This is why they want to play down the Europa League. They want to play down the Europa League. You know what I mean? I can tell you in 2017, tell me who won the Europa League. You straight away say Man United. You straight away remember when Man United won the Europa League, Jose Mourinho celebrating on the pitch. Tell me who came fifth that year. You're going to have to really think about it, isn't it? Tell me who came second that year. You're going to have to really think about it, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day, it is about winning trophies. And whether that's Europa League, Conference League, Champions League, Premier League, That is what it is all about. Now, a team that have not won a trophy in 5 years, I'm sorry, but you do not have a right to talk about what is a serious trophy and what isn't a serious trophy. You do not have the right to pick and choose so it fits your narrative. You do not have the right to tell us about the credentials of a European trophy when you have none. You know what I mean? Like I said on Twitter, Arsenal fans talking about the credentials of a European trophy is a bit like Eric Ten Hag talking about shampoo. You have no right. You know nothing about it. In fact, obviously, I think that Eric Ten Hag did have hair. I mean, in the past, he probably does know a little bit more about shampoo than Arsenal know about European trophies. Absolutely. Absolutely, Ephraim. Absolutely. Ciao. The guy who said, yeah, I think read down, big up. Sal, do we have to start Casemiro in regard to the final? Ephraim, what I would say is that it is a very difficult one, Ephraim. But what I would do is do what we did against El Bilbao. If it doesn't work, then we make the change. But this is why I'm not a manager of a football club, you know, because these are the big decisions that Ruben Amorim has to make. Ruben Amorim has to do his research in Tottenham. Now, Ange Postecoglou, guys, and let me tell you this to Ruben Amorim. If Ruben Amorim does watch this stream, or any other Man United player watches this stream, right? I know that Rasmus does. He has in the past. But what I would say this, right, is this. Ange Postecoglou is a PE teacher. An unfit PE teacher. Do not let this PE teacher tactically outwit you. Prepare for that game now. Get ready for that Tottenham game now. Unless when we get to the final, we will sweep Tottenham away in half an hour. That's what we do. Get rid of them. 3-0. Boom. Done. Didusted. Done. Didusted. Gone. Finished. Kaput. That's what Man United need to do. Absolutely pound them with our experience. That's what I would do. Ephraim, I do not think he's good defensively. I mean, I don't know. I feel like what Ruben Amorim tries to do is tries to move the team forward. I think he can learn. And I think when you, let me tell you a little something about Man United, especially Man United in the 90s, right? Man United in the 90s used to play a 4-4-2, right? But Dennis Irwin, Gary Neville were always up the field. Always up the field, leaving 2 at the back. Sometimes 1 at the back. Ruben Amorim wants to bring the team forward. And I think that should be our priority. Win 4-3. It's better than losing 0-2, isn't it? You know, I would say that as long as he can bring the team forward and make us an attacking, exciting, winning team, that's all I care about at the end of the day. And whatever Ruben Amorim wants to do, it's entirely up to him. But with the rumors hitting about Cunha, can we afford to keep Ahmad on the bench? We can't do that. But again, Ruben Amorim, let me give you this tactical analysis, right? Ruben Amorim plays a 3-4-2-1. The right wing and the left wing are not fullback. They're not wing backs. They're midfielders, right? Let's get it straight. The right wing and the left wing are not defenders. So what happens? When the space comes behind the 2 wingers, the back 3 split, right? And they go into the wing back positions and they defend those areas. That's what they do, right? So it's not like, oh, he can't. Yes, Ahmad's going to need a little bit of defensive stability. Even Beckham did that. But you know what? The most important thing for Man United going forward will be the attacking prowess, the attacking side of things. That is Ruben Amorim. And hopefully we see the real Ruben Amorim next season. Morning, Mark. How you doing, you legend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Sal, are you early? Great. So, yeah, it's early Saturday. Got a few things to do today, Mark. So I thought I'd go early today. Yeah, but I'll be back later on as well. So great to see you here, mate. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great Saturday so far. All 4 English teams are going to the cup finals apart from Arsenal. Arsenal are an embarrassment, child. They've embarrassed English football. They've embarrassed us. Every single team goes to the final apart from Arsenal. Big up. I hear De Ligt will come after Sunday. I hope so, Ephraim. It's very important to get De Ligt back. I just fear. I fear playing Ruben Amorim having to play Lindelof in the final. I'm petrified of that thought. I don't know how you guys think about that, but I am petrified about the prospect of Lindelof playing in the final in the Europa League. I mean, I don't want that, guys. I don't want that. I don't think he, you know what I mean? When I look at Tottenham, now we have to look at Tottenham, right? Guys, they have Solanke. They don't, Maddison's not even playing. You know what I mean? We have to think about mentality here. We have to be like, you know what? It's Spurs, guys. Who the hell are Spurs? That is what we have to be. Let me tell you something about Tottenham, and I told you about my brother's been a Spurs fan for 40 years. He's petrified of Man United right now. He's scared of Man United right now. And so he should be. Because Man United have more European experience. Man United have more European legacy. Man United have more European heritage than Tottenham. You know, they're scared of us. Believe it. Right? So we need to use that to our advantage. We should be used to finals. We've been in finals. We've been in loads of finals. You know what I mean? Loads of finals. You know what I mean? We shouldn't have to worry about Spurs. I bring in this situation, right? If Man United were in the Champions League right now, and we just got to the final of the Champions League, right? And we're drawn against Tottenham in the Champions League final, what would you guys be doing? Be honest. What would you guys be doing if we drew Tottenham in the Champions League final? You'll be celebrating, right? You'll be jumping up and down, right? You'll be like, yes, Tottenham, we're going to win the final. You'd be like that, won't you? Because that is the levels, right? There is Barcelona in this world, Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid and Bayern Munich and PSG. There's all these teams around the world who are far better than Tottenham. We've beaten Barcelona. We've beaten PSG over the last few years in our worst period, guys. Worst period. We've beaten PSG. Guys, I want to bring in a little something in regards to Anthony. Of course, Anthony said that moving to Betis was the best decision of his life. Right. Okay. Good morning, Randy. How you doing, brother? I hope you're doing well. Now, Anthony has moved, I think, Real Betis from 10th place to a Champions League position. Potentially. So potentially, Anthony could beat Real Betis millions. Right? So my argument is, if Anthony's going to contribute heavily to Real Betis qualifying for the Champions League, they're going to get all that money because of Anthony. I don't want Real Betis coming in the summer saying that they haven't got the money for Anthony. We need to remember that. They're going to make a lot of money to qualify for the Champions League, you know? They're going to make a lot of money from that. So we need to remember that. You know, because of Anthony, Real Betis are going to qualify for the Champions League. So all the least they can do is pay the money for Anthony. That's what they could do. Now, there are rumors about Bayer Leverkusen. There's rumors about Atletico Madrid going after Anthony as well. So, you know what? We need to look at ourselves, look after ourselves and say, like, you know what? If Real Betis are not going to pay the money, Atletico Madrid and Bayer Leverkusen will. And that is what it is at the moment. And this is just for now. I'm pretty sure that other teams in Europe are going to go after Anthony. I'm hearing that slight rumors about Bayern Munich. I'm hearing slight rumors about Inter Milan. I'm hearing rumors about other teams in Europe. PSG have inquired about Anthony. I mean, whispers, you know. So at the end of the day, if Betis are not going to pay up the monies, you know, we're not going to be held to ransom and stuff like that and be like, you know, waiting for PSG to pay the money, because at the end of the day, you like Anthony, you love Anthony. Anthony's done very well for you. He's qualified you for the Champions League. To be honest, you should be like thanking Man United like this. Thank you, Man United. How much can we give you for Anthony? I'll give you a blank check. I know that's a bit extreme, but I'll give you 60 million for Anthony. And that's what it is. At the end of the day, Man United have helped Real Betis. You know, and there you go. At the end of the day, you know, there you go. Now, should the worst happen, that Anthony doesn't leave, would you be happy with Anthony? Is Anthony good enough to play in the Ruben Amorim system? Now, the reason that Anthony moved away from Manchester United is because he didn't want to play right wing back. He didn't want to play right wing back. He moaned about it, and fair enough, he doesn't want to play right wing back. So does he fit Man United system? I think he can play in the two behind the striker. But it didn't work out for him, and he was that Man United for a while, and it just didn't work out for him. Sometimes it's not about quality. Sometimes it's not about skill. Just like McTominay, it's not about quality. We're not talking about quality here. Sometimes a league can suit certain players. It can just suit you. It doesn't mean you're crap. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that league suits you, your style of play. You know what I mean? Sometimes, the Premier League's a very difficult game. I honestly think, like, when you look at the goal from Anthony the other day, when he curled it into the top corner, in the Premier League, you wouldn't get that space and time to cut in. And most teams know what Anthony's going to do. That's why he kept doing it and he kept failing. You know what I mean? Ephraim, which football ground has the atmosphere is best for you? The ones I've been to. I mean, the best ever atmosphere I've had, let me tell you, was the 2007 game against Roma. That was the best atmosphere at Old Trafford. But if I was to say an atmosphere that is incredible that I've witnessed, I would have to say either Glasgow Rangers, very loud, Galatasaray, very loud, very, very, very good atmosphere, absolutely. I've been to the Bernabeu, very quiet for me when I went. Anyway, it was 0-0. I've been to loads of, but Istanbul, Glasgow stand out in my head, as loud. In regards to England, in regards to English football, I would say Anfield is always loud. I mean, it pains me to say that, but I think Anfield is always loud. In regards to away fans, I think Man United have the best away fans in the world, along with PSG. And I felt, guys, I just want to give a little shout out to Athletic Bilbao. Athletic Bilbao's crowd are incredible. Their fans are unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I would give their credit to them, of course. Sal, I really like Anthony and I wish him well. Me too, Randy. Me too. Collab with United Stand, up to United Stand, Lauren. Big up, Lauren. Thank you for joining me, but it's up to United Stand. They don't look at people like me. I've not got enough numbers for them at the moment, obviously. Of course. Morning, Sal. You woke me up early. Anyways, big up. Thank you, Shah, for joining me. I really appreciate you, my friend. Really appreciate you. We have to sell him at least for 50 million. Nah, bro, you're wrong. I'm not wrong, mate. He left us because he's shit in the Premier League. I wouldn't put it like that, Laran. Let me say, Laran, I wouldn't put it like that. It just didn't work out for Anthony at Man United, and that's it. Sometimes that happens, isn't it? It's nothing personal. It's nothing like that. It just didn't work out for Anthony in the Premier League. And the La Liga suits his game a little bit more. But big up, Laran. Good to see you, mate. Thank you for joining me, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Please don't forget to subscribe, by the way. Thank you. He is not a bad player. He did not suit the Premier League. Absolutely, Ephraim. This is what it's about, isn't it? It's not about slagging off these players and giving them, swearing and stuff like that. Some players find it difficult to settle in the Premier League. I've seen great players come to the Premier League, world-class players, and fail. Juan Sebastian Veron, who remembers that? Do you know what I mean? Those type of players who came to the Premier League and failed. I mean, Veron, before he came to Man United, I was so excited by the signing of Veron. I thought, wow. But it's a different level, the Premier League. It was. PSG Ultras been to Paris in 2 hours. I mean, they're unbelievable. I love the PSG Ultras. And I'll tell you why. Because they don't give a crap about anything. Politically, atmospherically, they're absolutely superb. And they're an example, let me tell you, to the rest of Europe in how to support your football team. You know what I mean? I fear that Man United fan base, and I love the Man United fan base, but I fear that we've gone too soft. We're too soft, right? And we're not intense anymore. We're not scary anymore. We got Fred the Red walking around Old Trafford, family atmosphere, people crying about their season ticket only. They don't care about the success. They just care about their season ticket and being self-righteous. I've got my season ticket and things like that. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel like we're not scary anymore. Man United need to be like ultras, like that. Man United need to be like a Man United ultras. You know, at the moment we're like family affairs. That's what we're like. You know, we're not scary anymore. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Old Trafford is the theatre of dreams. We're the Red Devils. We're more like the Red Care Bears. We're not scary enough. We need to be scary. We need to be intimidating. That's what Man United need to be, of course. Anthony, generous to Anthony. The Premier League is too quick for him. That's the thing. And one thing I would say, Shah, is that, you know, that goal you saw the other day, I think it was against, not Espanyol, who was against? Was it Espanyol? He scored that and it curled into the top corner. In the Premier League, you don't get that time to do that. You might do it once, and then after that, every other football club in the Premier League will know what you're going to do. They'll know what you're going to do. You're going to cut in and turn in, and you'll never do it again. You're going to have more. You have to have more strings to your bow in the Premier League. That's what you need. More strings to your bow. Anthony's style of play works a lot in La Liga or the Dutch league. Glad he revived his career. I'm glad as well. And I hope he wins the Conference League, Kenny. I hope he wins the Conference League. Because one thing about Anthony, he didn't resort to social media and start moaning on social media, did he? You know? Yeah. So earlier I spoke about Moise Kean, of course. And I spoke about Moise Kean coming to Manchester United. Moise Kean is a Manchester United second string transfer target, which basically means that Moise Kean will be a target for Manchester United if Manchester United don't qualify for Europe. So Man United have a conveyor belt of players that if we qualify for the Champions League, and a conveyor belt of players if we don't qualify for the Champions League. Moise Kean's in the don't qualify for Champions League category, just to let you know. We need Man United ultras now. Look, I know Man United are a family club. Man United, when I used to go to Old Trafford during the 90s, early turn of this century, Man United have always been a family club. And that's great, right? But what Man United need to be more than anything is an intimidating club, a scary club. Teams, before they came out of Old Trafford, used to lose the game. Even before they've walked out of the Old Trafford tunnel, they used to lose the game. Nowadays, it's like, it's not going to be that bad here. We're okay. You know what I mean? Man United, Old Trafford, everyone wins here. We got to change that narrative. We got to change the softness that we have in our ground. There's no intensity. Now, I'm not saying it's all the time. I do believe we have an element of intensity when it comes to European games. Some European games were very vocal and loud. I look at the last 10 minutes against Lyon. I look at the game against Athletic Bilbao. We had an element of atmosphere. But is it intimidating enough? Is it scary? Is it like when you go into Old Trafford, do you feel like, wow, this is, I wouldn't want to be the opposition here. I saw, I give you an example. I saw Roma against Man United when Man United won 7-1. I was in the stadium and the atmosphere was the best I've seen at Old Trafford. Probably the best atmosphere I've been to Old Trafford. I've been to a lot of games at Old Trafford. Probably the best atmosphere I've seen at Old Trafford was in that game. And Roma was scared. Roma were scared. Roma were not a 7-1 team. Francesco Totti, De Rossi, all those type of players, right? They were not a 7-1 team. But Man United scared the living daylights out of them. And that's what Man United used to do in Europe, especially in the night games at Old Trafford. These days, we've become too much of a soft touch, right? Fred the Red, the teddy bear walking around, oh, happy, like lovely. It's like bloody Chesterton World of Adventures. You know what I mean? Alton Towers, that's what it's like. And Man United need to erase that. The death of Fred the Red? Maybe. Maybe Fred the Red needs to revamp his style. Maybe we need to be a little bit more intimidating. Because at the end of the day, when you got Barney the dinosaur walking around, right, it is a little bit like the opposition team. You know what I mean? Let's be real here. Let's be honest. I want what's best for Man United. And I think that Man United need to be intimidating and scary. At the moment, I don't think we're intimidating and scary. You know what I mean? And I think that is one of the biggest things that need to change at Old Trafford. Good afternoon, Pearl. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Moise Kean, I've not heard that name in years. He fouled at Everton, didn't he? Went to Juventus. Obviously, he's been around the block, but he's still only 25. Scored 17 goals this year, by the way. Yeah. It's mainly the tourists that always go to Old Trafford. You take the season ticket there. It's always someone that will take it. The problem is, Shah, and a person who's been to hundreds of games at Old Trafford, right? The problem is that there are families, right, that pass their season ticket down the generations. And Old Trafford, how we're going to get the atmosphere back. Old Trafford needs to be revamped, or the new stadium that we're building needs to be concentrated on intimidation. Scary. Because Old Trafford used to be scary. It used to be. But over the years, it's become more of a tourist playground, right? It's become more of a, Roy Keane said it many years ago, prawn sandwiches. He said it many years ago, didn't he? Man United, and I hate to bring in Anfield. I hate to bring it, but I've been to Anfield a number of times. I've seen Man United against Liverpool. They're very intimidating. Why aren't Man United not intimidating as Anfield? Man United are bigger than Anfield. They're the biggest stadium in England apart from Wembley. Why are they not intimidating? Anfield have tourists. You know, I think it is the whole match day experience, right? There is no edge. It's like basically going to work. That's how some people see Man United when they go to Old Trafford. It's a bit like going to work. And this mentality needs to change. We need to go into Old Trafford with our chest. We're Manchester United, the Busby Babes, this, 1968, you know what I mean? 1999, we're Manchester United. We need to make this ground more intimidating. Because a big part of our success, especially during the Alex Ferguson period, was Old Trafford. These days, we're struggling at Old Trafford. Now, I'm under no illusions that against Athletic Bilbao, Manchester United were poor for half the game. Well, 60 minutes of the game, we were poor until the changes came in. This should never happen at Old Trafford, regardless who's playing on that pitch. It should never have Old Trafford. Players should never lack intensity at Old Trafford. But the crowd have a part to play as well. The crowd have a part to play as well, what I would say. I like to tell everybody, it's not intimidating. No. Have you seen the, I've forgotten the one. There's one with the devil one. That's very good. But PSG, that's an atmosphere. And PSG have like a running track around their ground. You know what I mean? And they're more intimidating. Especially if we play for Champions League, we have to change the atmosphere. Absolutely, Ephraim. It's too soft. The new stadium is not a new stadium. It's a circus, Shah. Good morning. Good morning, Leeson. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Good morning, everyone. Randy, are we a weak fan base, Sal? I wouldn't say weak. That's the wrong word. I would say we lack passion in the ground. We lack edge. Like PSG have the ultras. Like Inter Milan. Inter Milan, they have the likes of Matheus Cunha playing for them and players like that, right? There are players like that playing for them. How comes they can reach Champions League finals? Tell me. What is the big overriding advantage for Inter Milan? The San Siro. The San Siro is intimidating. I've been to the San Siro. It's intimidating. That is why. A ground that can pull you through. You know what I mean? It can pull you through. A number of Liverpool's Champions League titles, and I don't like talking about Liverpool, have been because of Anfield. Liverpool came back from 3-0 down against Barcelona because of Anfield. We need to make Old Trafford differently. But Man United, let me tell you something. In the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, Man United were a more scarier fan base. We were feared. Right? We had ultras, at the end of the day. If you knew about Man United from back in the day, we had ultras, guys. We had intimidation. We were scary fan base. No one liked going north. Not even Spurs liked going north. Not West Ham liked going north. No one liked going north. Big up, Bello. What's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. It needs to change, Ephraim, because it's a big part of football. Home form is a big part of football. Playing at home, winning at home is a big part of your success. And it has been for Man United as well over the years. Absolutely. I always remember Alex Ferguson. He'd always say that get the crowd up in the first 10 minutes, cost his players getting into the box. We can't even do that anymore. Yeah, it's a collaboration, isn't it, Shah? It's a collaboration between the players and the fans. The players have to get you up for it, but the fans have to push it. Two things, which we don't do. And we're very long to get going in games. Absolutely. I trust you're doing great. Big up, very well, thank you. Hope you're doing well as well. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Good to see you again. The Glazers really weakened the club. What they've done, have you ever been to a baseball game? I've been to America a number of times. Have you ever been to a baseball game or an American football game? You can hear a pin drop. This is the American influence in football. This is why I want to take away the American influence in football. I don't think Americans love football. They don't love football. They love the money. So I would remove all American ownership from football because they're killing it. They're killing the soul of European football, in my opinion. You know what I mean? We've become accountants as fans of football. Absolutely. Social media fans as well. Big up, Shah. Mr. Sal, it's a good freedom personally for me to be happy again. Wow. Very good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Have a great weekend, guys. Guys, thank you for joining me. And thank you to the legends that have joined me in the chat. I know I came early on this morning, but thank you for joining me. You absolute legends. Please don't forget, I'll be here later on today for the match preview between Man United and West Ham. Don't forget to join me for that. Keep your notifications on when I go live, of course. At the end of the day. And guys, big up, Randy. Big up, absolutely. Big up. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Sal Warner. This is Breaking Dawn, and I will see you later on in the evening. Take it easy, guys, and have a great day, guys. And enjoy your Saturday. You know what I mean? We're playing tomorrow. We don't need to worry too much. Take it easy, guys. Peace.